Yesterday, Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt. He was grazed in the ear by a bullet, and here is the footage from the event in Pennsylvania.
Look what happened.
Moving the spare. Hold. When you're ready, on you.
Ready?
Move.
Up.
Move. Go.
Up. Hawkeye's here.
Hawkeye's here. Move it to the spare.
Spare, get ready. Spare, get ready.
We ready?
Shooter's down. Shooter's down.
Are we good? Shooter's down. Are we good to move?
Shooter's down. We're good to move.
Clear.
We're
Let's
clear.
move.
We're
Let's
clear.
move.
We're clear.
Come on.
Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we gotta move to the bus. Move to the bus. Let me get my shoes.
Okay. Let's shoot down. Let's shoot.
Watch out. Wait.
So Donald Trump survived, and he was taken to the hospital, and he is safe now. But it was extremely traumatic, I think, for anybody who was paying attention, that this was allowed to happen. There is calls by people like Elon Musk for the leadership of the Secret Service to step down. After this witness was interviewed by the BBC.
And watch and listen to the rally, right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, but we noticed the guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling police and the Secret Service.
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh, yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay,
So there is obviously some negligence in this, in the lack of protection that Donald Trump had, and we don't really know if if it was part of a plan or anything like that. Was the negligence on purpose? The Secret Service has a lot to answer for because of this, and we have some more information about sort of the why the Secret Service were so pathetic at this event. Um, Dan from the Lotus Eaters pulled this up. The director of the Secret Service is, first of all, Kimberly Cheatley. She used to work security for PepsiCo. Elon Musk said that basically the last thing that she was defending before she became director of the Secret Service was Cheetos, which I think, it's not like she had a very important job, very important, you dangerous. Like, there's not much to protect for people regarding PepsiCo, but part of her policy has been running bare bones staffing and low resources. Her main priority was diversity, increasing female officers to 30%. Let's just listen to this from the U.S. or from CBS News.
To expand hiring, they're aiming to have 30% women recruits by
30% female recruits for a job that is protecting presidents and former presidents. It's absolutely insane. The I mean the pathetic nature of a lot of these female Secret Service members. I don't really blame them because they were just hired. It was their job. They're trying to do it well, but there's no way that there isn't a better person for the job than these women. These women are, relatively short. They don't seem to be very competent regarding guns, and they had trouble pulling their guns out of their holsters or putting them back in their holsters. If you saw in the video we discussed, or I showed in the beginning,
2030, and even allowed YouTube influencer Michelle Carre to train with agents.
They're
I'm very
obsessed with
conscious,
DEI.
as I sit in this chair now, of making sure that we need to attract diverse candidates and ensure that we are developing and giving opportunities to everybody in our workforce, and particularly women.
That workforce will be pivotal for the 2024 campaign season, which for the first time includes a former president who already has lifetime protection. Agents were there when Donald Trump was arraigned in New York.
It's really unreal. It's just despicable how they continually sacrifice. Now they're sacrificing people's protection in order to follow their DEI, their DEI measures. Their ideology is getting in the way. Now, I was planning on doing a episode talking about why the elite of the country, the people really running the country, are sort of getting rid of or moving away from Donald Trump, or not Donald Trump, from Joe Biden. And then this happened. So I think, and I'll get to this as we go along, but this picture just goes to show you, first of all, the woman in this photo is not protecting Donald Trump, really. She's leaned over for some reason. This is a perfect example of why Secret Service should not be women. There's no point in having a Secret Service sort of female agents protecting Donald Trump. But this whole picture has changed the election completely. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Donald Trump will be elected president in November, barring basically a successful assassination attempt. That is basically the only way that they could actually remove Donald Trump at this point, prevent him from getting elected. Now, one of the other criticisms of the protection of Donald Trump was that the Secret Service or police had a shot, or had a shot on the shooter, had him in his sights, and did not did not kill the assassin before he tried to shoot Donald Trump. So here is the video of this. So you take this as you will.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
So that was right before Donald Trump was shot. They print it looks like the sniper has has the opportunity to kill the assassin before he shoots Trump, but it appears that he doesn't, and then he just returns fire. Now, there's a rumor going around that the person in the photo has reached out to some people. I don't know if this is true, and said that he was told that he was not supposed to take that shot, and that he was told to stand down, and then he returned fire. So I don't know if that's true, but that has been going around. Now, the miraculousness of Donald Trump surviving this assassination attempt should not be undercut. The chance of him dying in this was extremely high. If Donald Trump had not turned, he would have been killed. And you can see this in this photo, the bullet whizzing past him, and it's quite amazing. He had a Catholic priest, Father Jason Sharon. He led the rally in prayer before Donald Trump spoke. So it seems quite miraculous, whether or not, people always, some people say that Donald Trump is sort of divinely, anointed to do the job he's doing. Well, that may not be true, but God does take evil and uses it for good. So at some point, or just like all of us, Donald Trump is an instrument of his work, and it is quite miraculous that he was so close, inches away from death, and he only, just barely, it barely missed his anything really vital. Anyway, so his survival is spectacular. He more or less has won the election, and people will rally around him. His voter base will come out to vote in large numbers in November. I have no doubt about that. And it just is poignant to the concept that I was going to discuss if this didn't happen, and I'm going to go into it now, is that Biden was a useful, sort of idiot, more or less, a useful old man to remove Trump from office in 2020. He sort of represented a easier time theoretically. People thought of him as, like not very radical, which obviously wasn't really true, in the sense that he's not really with it and he's not really making the decisions. And he has had sharp mental decline over the past 4 years. The media has been covering this up. But I think what the elite are doing, because we see the media has basically turned against Biden. We see big donors withholding money from Biden's campaign. All of this is because the elite know that in order to sort of save, quote unquote, democracy, which is their basically way of running the country. It's really a form of oligarchy. They just call it a democracy. But the way that they have to shift sort of their uh, support to some degree to Donald Trump in order to save their structure of government. Otherwise, if they were to continue the charade with Biden, it would undermine even more their own position. So what they're most likely going to do is contain Trump, make sure that he can do as little radical, things as possible. When I say radical, I just mean radically different from the way that Obama or Biden has those administrations have run things. Radical from George W. Bush. Like, they're not going to let Trump do anything crazy. They're just, I mean, it's not just sort of the deep state that's a part of it. Republican politicians, Democratic politicians, all of these groups are going to make it extremely difficult for Donald Trump to make much change, but they're going to contain him, and they need to give the public a feeling of a win, and that feeling is going to come from Donald Trump winning. And this assassination attempt is just another reason for them to give the people a victory, more or less. Otherwise, democracy will be even more destroyed, which, I mean, I think it already is on the decline. Like, the belief that democracy is really in effect and that people have a real say in their government. I don't think I think that's becoming a less and less a strongly held belief, especially in my generation. I don't think people are really happy with democracy. So, at least the way that they have it now. So, in order to save their own skins, they will let Trump win. That's basically what my belief is based on all of this. It's amazing that this assassination attempt was even it was even let happen, but it's clear that they're not really interested or worried about protecting Donald Trump. And Biden took forever to come out and condemn the attack. Obama did it first. To me, it's very clear because Obama came out so fast, and Biden, who was on vacation, took so long and came out and wouldn't call it an assassination attempt. He was basically his handlers wouldn't let him do that. His handlers have all this power over him, and he's basically a senile old man. This is more or less the situation. But Biden completely lost any sort of sympathy. Donald Trump now has all the sympathy from getting shot, and we'll see what the response is, as we go on. But even CNN wouldn't call it an assassination; they called it an incident, not even a shooting. Which I don't understand how the media could possibly say it wasn't a shooting from the get-go, pretty much because Forbes which I showed you the video of the event and the attack. Forbes already had that video out for like a half an hour or so, and that attack, in it, the Secret Service talk about, shooter down, like they're talking about the person who attacked Trump as a shooter. I don't understand how they can do this, but obviously the media is just so incompetent. All the news I was really getting from about the incident was basically on X. there's no reason to watch the news except for to be behind on the information that you're going to get. And this was the case on Fox News as well. I They were hesitant to call it an assassination attempt. It took them a really long time, but the BBC, we watched the interview with the BBC guy talking to the guy who told the police and the Secret Service about the gunman. This is it's interesting because this BBC reporter is also blind. Like, the blind BBC reporter was able to do better journalism than all the rest of the media. It's absolutely incredible and disgraceful. So anyways, Trump's basically got it in the bag, but it will be interesting if Donald Trump actually uses this event as a way of being less moderate. If he comes out of this, they've tried to put him in jail. They've tried to frame him for frame him as a Putin agent, and now they've tried to smear him. Now they've tried to assassinate him. I don't understand how he could allow or be willing to go along with the deep state and his enemies. Like, he should be he has so much charisma, but he doesn't seem to ever really take action against his enemies. So hopefully he will take action, purge the deep state, but this is only a band-aid, really. There are so many more important things. Donald Trump needs to come to Christ, needs to convert to Catholicism, and after his near death, I hope he has some realizations spiritually. I Let's keep praying for Donald Trump. Let's pray for our country, and we'll see what happens going forward. I hope you learned something from this episode. It really is a terrifying thing to live in a country where the president was almost assassinated, and I think it's going to be one of the most memorable things for Generation Z, because we don't really remember 9/11, and this is the first major attack against a president or a former president since Reagan, if I'm not mistaken. So it's disheartening living in a world with so much evil, but also recognizing that evil is the first step to defeating it. So recognize it and act accordingly. Thank you, everyone. God bless. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everyone.